What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. And from the New York Post, New Yorkers flee over taxes, housing prices. The city literally spit us out. So not the forced masking, not the 180 on the forced masking, not the forced pharmaceuticals, not the broken down train system, not the crime, not the rats, not the garbage, but the taxes. And of course, the housing prices. And why is the trash not getting picked up when the taxes are absolutely through the roof? So the city has been hemorrhaging people for years now, at least since, I don't know, late 2020. But some folks are just now starting to catch on. And I'm almost at the point where it seems like it might be time to go back, right? Like you kind of buy low. But apparently, even as people are fleeing by the thousands, the housing prices aren't getting any better. So what's happening? They're moving out. A shocking 27%. Doesn't even seem like enough. That's like when you see a poll of, 65% of people don't agree that a man can magically become a woman. It's like, why is that not 100? But anyways, 27% of New Yorkers are planning to leave the Empire State in the next 5 years, with 30% saying they wish they lived somewhere else, according to a poll from Siena College Research Institute. Affordability, ease of retirement, politics, and crime and safety were among New Yorkers' biggest gripes. Okay, well, that makes sense, right? I mean, I had to deal with the Rona stuff, but when you are witness to an actual drive-by, that changes things. But not the point here. I digress. Moving on. According to the poll, among the most dissatisfied Republicans, Andrew Cuomo, Kathy Hochul, whatever, Kickback Kathy, I think they both at one point or another said, you don't belong here if you're a Republican. And there's no real Republicans in New York. There's just common sense people who aren't on board with every single one of your wacky agendas. And that's enough to make them a Republican. Republicans, independents, black people, and those earning under $50,000 a year. So we also saw an article where $100,000 in New York is equivalent to $30,000. I mean, it's ridiculous. People are getting priced out, and they're doing this on purpose. They're gutting the middle class, just like I always say. I mean, I'm not the only one to say that, but they gut the middle class, so it clearly becomes a playground for the rich or somebody self-vaccinating under the Williamsburg Bridge, and there's no in between. And they do the same thing with an argument on any issue. There is no middle ground. There is no space for you to say, hey, can we meet in the middle? No, it's either you're with us or you're against us. And if you don't jump through every single hoop we put in front of you, then you're the enemy. But I digress. Here, New Yorkers share their reasons for fleeing New York. Well, priced out of housing market when Bonnie Grubbs, a teacher, and her husband, Alex, a musician. Well, there you go. That's not going to cut it. An arborist outgrew their 660 square foot converted 2-bedroom co-op in Clinton Hill in Brooklyn. In 2021, they found themselves priced out of bigger homes, naturally. So they moved into a $3,000 rental on the border of Bed-Stuy, which is Clinton Hill. That's the border of Bed-Stuy, where they were plagued with by frequent power outages, rodent infestations. Okay, so they touch on crime and they touch on rodents, which is what I was mentioning at the beginning. An unreliable landlord. The last straw was when the ceiling caved in on them after the upstairs neighbor's radiator broke. My friend said the city literally spit us out. Bonnie, 36, told the Post. And there I think that's them. Clinton Hill, Clinton Washington Avenue. Yeah, so Clinton Hill, which is already at the border of Bed-Stuy. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to judge a book by its cover. Well, I actually do, and I will. But these people they're not going to last much longer in Bed-Stuy. Look, you can't be in Bed-Stuy, you can't be in Clinton Hill walking around with your nice little family. Look, things have gotten so extreme, so polarized that you're going to be a target simply for being a little white family walking around Bed-Stuy. I don't think that's that far-fetched to say. It's not great, but it's kind of true. We see people constantly all the time just hating white people for no apparent reason, right? And they're taught that. We're constantly taught that white people are the problem. Meanwhile, they continue to elect old white people. How does that work? I don't know. You tell me. You ain't got the answer, Sway. In February of this year, they moved to San Antonio with Bonnie's family, where they are living rent-free until they can buy a place of their own. Yeah, so good for them. Texas. Outgrowing roommates. Zoe, 26, Zoe, a music publicist, yeah, right, is ready to have an apartment, one that doesn't involve roommates and flights of stairs. She loves the convenience of city living, but says she's sick of the congestion and ready for a sunny start and more living space for her money in Los Angeles. Yeah, that's gonna work out perfectly. go to Los Angeles. I mean, these people, they can't even realize that they're in their little bubble. Like, there's thousands of other cities, dozens of other states, but you choose to jump from New York all the way back to LA, where you're going to live in another box, and you're going to, okay, you might save a couple bucks, but you're going to pay for it. You're going to be driving around. I would be willing to bet that this woman doesn't even have a car, and that's going to be a very tough task when she gets to New York and starts paying $7 a gallon for gas because she didn't want the flights of stairs. Maybe you want to think about, I don't know, you could go to Texas. You could even go to Florida. Florida, they're both getting a little crowded, but there's a number of other states you could go to. And I'm not going to list them, but to pretend that Los Angeles is going to be the fix for New York, you're sadly mistaken. When she learned her friend in LA was paying around the same price to live alone and with more amenities, she decided to plan her move for this June. Okay. Yeah, well, there you go. There you have it. I'm going to move from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, and that's going to be more comfortable. She looks like a very pleasant young lady. She looks like a tennis ball. Cash strapped from taxes. Yeah, so why are they charging you 3.5% city on top of the state and the federal, and they can't even pick up the trash, and the cops won't come if you call? And I've only called the cops one time in New York when the fireworks terrorism was absolutely through the roof, and I still think about that to this day. So where's all that money going? Into Bill de Blasio's wife's pocket, who looks like Flavor Flav? Alexis Wilson and her fiancé Matt Andrews, never trust a man with two first names, both nurses, recently moved from New York to Southwest Florida with the hopes of starting a family. They needed to stretch their paychecks and want a state without income taxes. Pretty simple. That's what the cops are doing. That's another reason why you guys are devolving into complete chaos, is because the cops are making like $40,000, and when $100,000 a year feels like $30,000, imagine what 40 feels like for you to put your neck on the line every single time and have people villainize you to no end. Aging out of state. Carol Anderson, 76, lived in her apartment on the Upper East Side since 1985. Wow. But by wow, okay, this is bad. Like the younger people, whatever, they can get up, pull the plug, and go anywhere, just like I did. But this woman is nearly 80 years old and has been living there since the mid-'80s and is like, I've had enough. You only got a couple years left, lady. So to make this move is it's pretty tough. By 2022, her maintenance was going up another 10%. She was paying $3,900 a month in maintenance fees, another $32 in mortgage payments, and had she kept a car in the city, she would have been shelling out nearly $800 for a parking space. I was in New York for $10,000 a month, Anderson said, who runs a successful communications firm. So she had a successful business, and it's just gotten to be too much, even as she gets to nearly 80 years old. That's what the city has done to people. It's absolutely ridiculous. In June 2022, she decided to move down south to New Orleans, where she's paying $2,200 a month in maintenance fees for a condo and 1/3 of what she paid in New York on real estate taxes. I aged out of New York. I love New Orleans more. So New Orleans is pretty dark too. Last time I was there, they weren't looking too good, but still better than New York. It's still better than Los Angeles, where this young lady, this handsome young woman's going to end up. I'm sure she'll fit right in there with the tennis ball haircut. But anyways, they have... you kind of have to be either born and raised there and know nothing else, so you have no idea how terrible it is, or just a complete moron, right? Because there's no other reason for you to be there. Like if your whole life is there, your whole family, your business, then yeah, you're just going to stick with it and you really know nothing else. But at 76 years old, for this woman to say, I've had enough. For a young couple starting a family, 35, 38 years old or whatever it is, they have a lot to offer to that quote unquote community, but they're taking their family elsewhere. And then the weird little hipster girl who's like, I'm going to go to LA. She's going to get a pleasant surprise when she realizes it's not much better, especially if she doesn't have a car. But I don't know about that. Anyways, obviously the city is kicking people out by the thousands because you'd have to be just a glutton for punishment to stay there, unless you are completely filthy rich and you're insulated from all of it. And that's exactly what they want, is that for you to be in the upper echelon, you're going to be in the political media realm, right? Some executive hotshot bigwig, or you are going to be shooting dope with your fentanyl test strips under a bridge, and you're going to be completely dependent on the government handouts, and you're not going to question them at all. People in the middle are going to have questions because they're going to pay attention to their pockets, and they don't like questions because they don't have answers to those questions, because all they're doing is destroying that city for their own benefit. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.